I have the documents. I'm afraid that area is restricted, but I was assured access, not possible.
Marcus Reed first hears it in the echo of the lobby. Polished marble, soft shoes, the polite hum of money moving where it always has. The banker doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. He glances at his watch, fingers already turning away, and dismisses Marcus with a smile that never reaches his eyes. Not now. The words slide across the space between them like a closed door. Marcus stands there, heat rising behind his ears, aware of the way the receptionist's eyes flicker up and then down, how security shifts closer as if he's suddenly out of place. He had come with proof, documents, timelines, commitments made and quietly broken. He had come because the delay wasn't abstract. Had an address, a neighborhood, a family name that matched his own. Outside the glass, trading screens pulse red and green, indifferent. Inside Marcus's chest, something tightens. He remembers the appraisal that came in low for no reason anyone could explain. The phone calls returned late, if at all. The way later kept meaning never. The banker's laughter drifts from behind frosted glass marked authorized person only. Marcus's phone vibrates. One message. Then another. They posted the foreclosure date. He looks up as a bell rings somewhere above him. Another trade executed, another decision sealed. The market moves. The building breathes. And Marcus understands, with a cold clarity that sinks into his bones, that this was never about timing at all. The doors slide shut. Marcus Reed stood in the glass-walled lobby of Halvorson Capital, fingers tight around a manila folder that had softened at the corners from weeks of handling. The trading screens above the receptionist flickered green and red, numbers rising and collapsing like weather fronts. He felt every shift in his chest. Name? The receptionist asked without looking up. Marcus Reed. 10 o'clock. I'm here to see Mr. Halvorson. She typed, paused, then frowned. He's running behind. I can wait, Marcus said. She glanced at his suit, then at his shoes, then back to the screen. It might be a while. That's okay. The lobby smelled like citrus cleaner and money. A white man in a navy blazer breezed past, laughing into his phone. 2 minutes later, he was waved through the security gate without stopping. Marcus watched, jaw tight. A security guard shifted closer. You waiting on someone? Yes, Marcus said. 10 o'clock. The guard nodded slowly, as if translating. Just stay right here. Minutes stretched. The screens ticked. Marcus thought about the house in Oakwood Heights, about the way his mother's voice shook when the bank letter arrived. He thought about the appraisals, the comps ignored, the offer Halvorson Capital had delayed without explanation. A door opened. Richard Halvorson stepped out, silver hair perfect, smile practiced. He shook hands with the man in the navy blazer. Pleasure as always, Halvorson said. Likewise, the man replied, already walking. Halvorson's eyes flicked to Marcus, then away. He turned back to the receptionist. Cancel my 10. Marcus stepped forward. Mr. Halvorson. I'm your 10. Halvorson's smile thinned. Not now. I've been waiting, Marcus said. This concerns the Oakwood Heights municipal bonds. Your delay. Not now, Halvorson repeated, voice low. The market's moving. The market's been moving for months, Marcus said. Against my clients. The receptionist froze. The guard took another step. Halvorson finally looked at Marcus fully, eyes cool. Send an email. I did. 3, Marcus said. No response. Halvorson leaned closer, his cologne sharp. This isn't the place. It became the place when you ignored me, Marcus said. He felt heat rise but kept his hands still. You told the city you were committed. Halvorson straightened. We'll circle back. When? Marcus asked. Later, Halvorsen said, already turning. Not now. The words landed heavy. Marcus watched him disappear behind frosted glass marked authorized person only. The guard cleared his throat. Sir. Marcus nodded. He stepped back, heart pounding, folder damp in his grip. On the screen above, Oakwood Heights ticked down another point. His phone buzzed. A text from his sister. They're foreclosing. Sale date posted. Marcus closed his eyes. The lobby hummed. Somewhere, a bell rang to mark a trade. He opened his eyes and looked at the numbers falling, and at the door that had just closed, and understood the timing was not accidental. Behind the glass, Halvorsen laughed. The market didn't wait. Marcus stepped outside into the canyon of downtown, the wind funneling between towers. A protest siren wailed blocks away, distant but insistent. He called his mother. They set a date, he said. Silence, then a breath. I knew it, she said. They always do this. I'm fixing it, Marcus said. I have documentation. You had documentation before, she said, not accusing, just tired. I know. A passerby brushed his shoulder and muttered. Watch it. Marcus didn't answer. He stared back at the building's mirrored face. His own reflection fractured. Back inside, the receptionist watched him through the glass. Marcus raised the folder, then lowered it. He typed a message to the city treasurer, to a reporter he trusted, to a former professor who now advised a pension fund. Inside the elevator, a woman in heels glanced at him. Rough morning. Busy, Marcus said. Markets, she said, as if that explained everything. Markets, he echoed. When the doors opened, he didn't get off. He rode up, then down, thinking. In the lobby again, the guard met his eyes, something like apology there. Can I help you with anything? The guard asked. Yes, Marcus said. A card. The guard handed him one. Marcus slipped it into his pocket. Outside, he dialed the reporter. They told me not now, Marcus said. I think they meant never. The reporter paused. Send me what you have. Marcus looked up at the screens one last time. I will, he said. Today. Across the street, a ticker scrolled breaking news about volatility. Marcus crossed with the light, feeling the city tilt. He didn't know how far the fall would go, only that it had already started, and it wasn't his. He walked on, shoulders squared, carrying loss and proof together, unaware who was already watching, calculating, and preparing to make his delay permanent, the way power prefers, quietly until it's too late. For everyone involved. Marcus spread the documents across his kitchen table like a map of damage. Appraisals, bond schedules, email chains with polite language and missing dates. He circled the same phrase 3 times in red ink. Risk recalibration. Risk of what? He muttered. His phone rang. City Treasurer Elaine Brooks's name lit the screen. You're asking loud questions, Elaine said without greeting. Answerable ones, Marcus replied. Why were Oakwood bonds delayed when every other district closed on time? Paper rustled. The firm cited volatility. There wasn't any, Marcus said. Not then. The comps were solid. The revenue stream was locked. Elaine lowered her voice. They said the neighborhood profile changed. Changed how? Marcus asked. You know how, she said. They didn't put it in writing. Marcus exhaled slowly. They redlined it. Marcus, Elaine warned. Be careful with words like that. Be careful with actions like that, he shot back. They stalled until defaults became inevitable. Another pause. If you have proof, she said, send it. I will, Marcus said. I already did. Elaine hung up. He texted the reporter Dana Kim. I can show pattern. Call me. A knock came at the door. Jamal Price stood there, hoodie pulled low, eyes darting down the hall. Can I come in? Jamal asked. Of course, Marcus said. You okay? Jamal dropped into a chair, rubbing his hands together. I shouldn't be here. You asked to meet, Marcus said. I asked because I can't unsee it, Jamal said. I ran the models. The ones Halvorsen cited. Marcus asked. Yeah, Jamal said. They tweaked inputs. Tinny. Neighborhood-coded proxies. It flags uncertainty without saying why. Show me, Marcus said. Jamal slid a flash drive across the table. Emails to. Not names but patterns. Marcus plugged it in. Why help me? Jamal laughed once, bitter. Because my mom's place is Oakwood. Because when I raised concerns my manager said, this isn't personal. It always is, Marcus said. Jamal's phone buzzed. He flinched. They're watching traffic. If this gets out. It will, Marcus said. You don't have to be public. I don't want credit, Jamal said. I want it to stop. Dana called. I'm listening, she said. Marcus put her on speaker. I have internal modeling showing targeted delays, he said. Neighborhood-coded risk. Dana inhaled. Send it. I need protection from my source, Marcus said. I can anonymize, Dana said. But be ready. They'll deny. They always do, Marcus said. After Jamal left, Marcus drove to Oakwood Heights. Boarded windows. For sale signs tilted like tired shoulders. Mrs. Alvarez waved from her stoop. They coming? She asked. Trying, Marcus said. They say it's numbers, she said. But the numbers have our names. At a community meeting in the church basement, voices overlapped. They never answered my calls, a man said. They changed the rate, a woman said. After they promised. Marcus raised his hand. I'm working on exposure, he said. I need statements. Teenager scoffed. Exposure don't pay rent. I know, Marcus said. But it can stop the bleeding. Back home, an email arrived from Halvorsen Capital's legal department. We deny any discriminatory practice. Direct further inquiries through counsel. Marcus typed back. Produce the models. No reply. Elaine called again. Regulators asked me questions, she said. Careful ones. Good, Marcus said. They asked about your role, Elaine added. Mine, Marcus said. They said you're overreaching. Marcus laughed softly. Funny word. Dana texted. Story runs tomorrow morning. Marcus stared at the screen. He thought of his mother packing boxes. He thought of Jamal watching his inbox. He thought of Halvorsen's smile. His phone buzzed, unknown number. Mr. Reed, a calm voice said. This is counsel for Halvorsen Capital. We can make this go away. Not now, Marcus said. Beep. Excuse me. You heard me, Marcus said. The market's moving. He hung up. Outside, a siren passed, then another. Marcus opened the window and listened to the city breathe. On his table, red circles marked the lines drawn long before him. He didn't know how hard they'd push back. He only knew the map was finally visible, and once seen, it couldn't be unseen. The calls stopped first. Marcus noticed it on a Tuesday morning when his calendar sat empty where meetings used to live. He refreshed. Nothing changed. He sent a follow-up to a city analyst he'd worked with for years. No response. At noon he walked into City Hall anyway. The security desk buzzed him through with a look that lingered a second too long. You don't have an appointment, the clerk said upstairs. I had standing meetings, Marcus replied. She smiled tightly. Schedules change. In the hallway, two colleagues broke off their conversation when they saw him. One nodded, quick and apologetic. The other stared at the floor. Marcus caught up to Paul Denton near the elevators. Hey, Marcus said. Did you get my email? Paul winced. Yeah. Look, man. Things are sensitive. Says who? Paul lowered his voice. Everyone. That's not an answer, Marcus said. Paul pressed the elevator button repeatedly. You're radioactive right now. For telling the truth. For embarrassing the wrong people, Paul said. The doors opened. I'd lay low. Marcus watched the doors close. The elevator climbed without him. By afternoon, the warnings sharpened. An unknown sedan idled across from his apartment when he got home. It didn't follow him, didn't approach. It just stayed until night fell, then rolled away. His phone rang. His mother. "They called," she said. "Who?" Marcus asked, already knowing. "The bank." "Very polite," she said. "They said delaying won't help." "Did they threaten you?" "No," she said. "They reminded me." "Of what?" "Of how things usually end." Marcus closed his eyes. "I'm sorry. I raised you to push," she said. "Just don't forget to breathe." That night, Jamal texted, "HR asked me about my stress levels." Marcus replied, "Say nothing without counsel." "I'm scared," Jamal wrote. "I know," Marcus typed. "You're not alone." At dawn, Dana's article hit second cycle. The headline avoided the word racism. It didn't need it. The data spoke. Charts showed delays clustering where Black and brown families lived. Quotes from unnamed sources described risk recalibration that followed no market logic. By noon, Halvorsen Capital released a statement. "We categorically deny any suggestion of bias. These allegations misunderstand complex financial safeguards." On cable news, a panel debated tone. "One has to be careful with accusations," a commentator said. "Markets are neutral." Marcus laughed bitterly from his couch. "So are storms," he muttered. "Until they hit land." His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "Mr. Reed," a woman said. "This is a courtesy call." "From?" Marcus asked. "A friend," she said. "You're standing in front of something large." "Then it should see me clearly," Marcus replied. Silence. "Your future matters," she said. "Careers are long." "So is damage," Marcus said. She hung up. That evening, the city council held a closed-door session. Marcus wasn't invited. Elaine texted him afterward. "They're forming a review committee." "That's good," he replied. "Slow," she added. "And limited." "By design," Marcus typed. At the grocery store, a man in a suit recognized him. "You're that guy," he said. "From the article." "Yes," Marcus said. The man leaned closer. "You're hurting confidence." "In what?" Marcus asked. "Institutions," the man said. Marcus gestured around. "These people already lost confidence." "And houses." The man shook his head. "You'll learn." "Learn what?" Marcus asked. The man smiled thinly and walked away. Later, Marcus found an envelope taped to his door. No stamp. Inside, a printed screenshot of his resume with a note in block letters. "Think carefully." He sat on the floor, back against the wall, paper shaking in his hands. Fear arrived late, creeping, practical. Rent. Health insurance. His mother's house already half gone. He stood, walked to the sink, and washed his face. The mirror showed him older than last week. Dana called. "They're trying to isolate you," she said. "It's working," Marcus replied. "It won't," she said. "Another outlet wants the data." "Publish it," Marcus said. "All of it." "Are you ready for the pushback?" she asked. Marcus looked at the envelope on the counter. "I don't think readiness matters." That night, Oakwood Heights held a vigil. Candles flickered under a streetlight that buzzed and died, then flickered again. Marcus spoke briefly. "They told me to wait," he said. "They told you to leave." A woman in the crowd said, "What happens now?" Marcus hesitated. "Now we don't go quiet." Applause rose, uneven but real. Across town, in a glass office, Richard Halvorsen watched the coverage with narrowed eyes. "He's persistent," he said. His aide nodded. "Do we escalate?" Halvorsen smiled. "We let the system work." Back in his apartment, Marcus's phone lit up with a final message from Jamal. "They moved me to administrative leave." Marcus typed back one word: document. He set the phone down and stared out the window as the city dimmed. Silence pressed in, thick with intention. He understood now. The loudest warnings were never shouted. They were whispered, coordinated, and patient. And they were only beginning. The morning the story broke, Marcus woke to the sound of his phone vibrating itself toward the edge of the nightstand. He caught it just before it fell. Dana's name. 3 missed calls. A text. It's everywhere. He sat up, pulse racing, and opened his laptop. Headlines stacked like falling dominoes. Financial firm accused of targeted delays in urban districts. Data shows pattern in municipal bond holds. The word racism still didn't appear. It hovered in the negative space, unmistakable. Cable news ran B-roll of Oakwood Heights, boarded houses, a mother locking a door that wouldn't be hers much longer. A pundit shook his head. These claims are serious, he said, but intent is hard to prove. Marcus muttered. Damage isn't. His phone rang again. This time it was Elaine. They're panicking, she said. Who? Marcus asked. Everyone who told me to be patient, she replied. The mayor wants distance. Regulators want memos. That's movement, Marcus said. It's noise, Elaine said. Be careful not to confuse the two. By mid-morning, Halvorsen Capital's response hit inboxes. We welcome transparency and will cooperate fully. Allegations are unfounded and misleading. Marcus read it twice, then closed the tab. His mother called. Your aunt saw you on TV, she said. She said you looked tired. I am, Marcus said. Proud, his mother added. She said proud too. A knock came at the door. Dana stood there, hair pulled back, notebook already open. They're denying, she said. They would, Marcus replied. More is coming, Dana said. 2 former employees reached out after the piece. Marcus leaned against the doorframe. Are they safe? They asked the same about you, Dana said. Across town, the firm's lobby looked unchanged. Marble gleamed. Greens pulsed. Inside a conference room, Richard Halvorsen listened as his legal counsel spoke. We control the narrative, the lawyer said. Question methodology. Emphasize complexity. And read. Halvorsen asked. Discredit, the lawyer said. Frame him as disgruntled. Halvorsen nodded once. Do it cleanly. By afternoon the framing began. An op-ed circulated questioning Marcus's objectivity. An anonymous source suggested he'd mishandled data. Commentator smirked. Sometimes activists see patterns where none exist, she said. Marcus watched from a diner, coffee cooling untouched. A man at the counter glanced over. That you? The man asked. Yes, Marcus said. The man shrugged. Brave, he said. Stupid too. Those aren't opposites, Marcus replied. At City Hall, a press scrum formed. Elaine stood at the podium. We take these concerns seriously, she said. A review is underway. A reporter shouted. Did the city ignore warnings? Elaine paused. The city relied on expert partners. Who profited? Another voice called. Elaine stepped back. Marcus's phone buzzed with an unknown number. He let it ring. Dana texted. They're leaking against you. Marcus typed back. I expected that. Another text arrived, this one from Jamal. They locked my email. Told me to surrender my badge. Marcus closed his eyes. I'm sorry, he typed. Don't be, Jamal replied. This needed daylight. At dusk, protesters gathered outside Halvorsen Capital. Heinz Bob. Chants echoed off glass. Inside, blinds lowered one by one. Marcus stood across the street, hands in pockets, watching security tighten the perimeter. A woman next to him held a sign that read not a risk, a home. They see us now, she said. They always did, Marcus replied. They just didn't care. Camera crew approached. Mr. Reed, the reporter said, microphone raised. Do you stand by your claims? Marcus looked into the lens. I stand by the data, he said. And the people living with the consequences. Are you accusing Halvorsen Capital of racism? The reporter pressed. I'm accusing them of choices, Marcus said. And choices don't happen in a vacuum. The clip ran everywhere. That night Marcus's email filled with messages. Support. Threats wrapped in civility. One stood out from a withheld address. This ends badly for people who don't know when to stop. Marcus forwarded it to Dana, then deleted it. He sat on his couch, lights off, listening to the city. Sirens. Laughter. A train rumbling beneath streets laid long before him. Across town, Halvorsen watched the protests disperse. They'll get tired, he said. His aide hesitated. Markets react to uncertainty. Halvorsen smiled. So do people. Back in Oakwood Heights, candles burned low on stoops. Mrs. Alvarez texted Marcus a photo of neighbors standing together. Thank you for not being quiet. Marcus typed back. I'm not done. He set the phone down and stared at the darkened window, reflection layered over city lights. The story had broken. The silence had cracked. What followed would not be controlled by press releases or polite denials. It would move like the market, fast, unforgiving, and too late to stop. Continue chapter 5 850 word. 850 words. Exact. The offer came quietly, the way powerful things often do. Marcus was reviewing spreadsheets at his kitchen table when an email slid into his inbox. Subject line neutral to the point of innocence. Discussion. No logos. No signatures beyond a name he recognized from Halvorsen Capital's legal team. We believe there is room for resolution. Discretion would benefit all parties. Marcus laughed once, short and sharp. Of course, he said to the empty room. Dana called before he could reply. They reached out to you. Yes, Marcus said. You too. Not directly, she said. But investors are asking questions. Big ones. That was new. He felt it like a shift in air pressure. By midday the market reacted. A pension fund announced it was reviewing exposure. Another froze new commitments. Financial News framed it as prudence. Confidence is sensitive, a host said. Even allegations can spook capital. Marcus watched from a bench outside the courthouse, sun warming his face. Funny, he said. Confidence didn't flinch when homes fell. Elaine joined him, files tucked under her arm. You've got their attention, she said. I don't want attention, Marcus replied. I want accountability, she sighed. Those rarely arrive together. His phone buzzed again. Same counsel. We can discuss restitution. Marcus typed back. For whom? The reply came fast. Your client base. Fees. Damages. Non-admission. No admission, Marcus said aloud. No change. He didn't send another message. At Halvorsen Capital, the tone sharpened. Traders spoke in clipped sentences. Risk officers hovered. Richard Halvorsen paced his office. Phone pressed to his ear. This is temporary, he said. The fundamentals are sound. On the other end, an investor replied. Fundamentals include trust. Halvorsen's jaw tightened. We're managing it. You should have managed it earlier, the investor said, and disconnected. In Oakwood Heights, a town hall filled past capacity. Folding chairs scraped concrete. A woman shouted from the back. They offered me a modification if I sign away claims. Marcus stepped to the microphone. Don't sign anything without review, he said. They're trying to close doors quietly. A man near the front asked, Will this save our houses? Marcus hesitated. Some, he said honestly. Not all. Murmurs rippled. Truth hurt, but lies cost more. Afterward, Jamal met him in the parking lot, eyes tired but steady. They sent a severance packet, Jamal said. Conditional. On silence, Marcus said. Jamal nodded. I didn't sign. Marcus clapped his shoulder. I'm proud of you. Jamal smiled faintly. Me too. Terrified. But proud. That night the call came again. This time the voice was Richard Halvorsen's. Marcus, Halvorsen said smoothly. We don't have to do this publicly. Marcus leaned back, staring at the ceiling. You already did. 4 years. You're hurting people, Halvorsen said. Your own community. Capital pulls out, projects stall. Capital stalled first, Marcus said. You delayed it. A misunderstanding, Halvorsen said. A pattern, Marcus replied. Halvorsen exhaled. Name your price. Marcus sat up. This isn't about me. Everything is about incentives, Halvorsen said. Marcus's voice hardened. Then here's one. Admit what you did. Release the holds. Fund restitution. Submit to oversight. Silence stretched. That's not realistic, Halvorsen said finally. Neither is pretending this ends quietly, Marcus said. He hung up. The next morning, regulators announced a formal inquiry. The wording was careful. The effect was immediate. Halvorsen Capital's stock dipped. Commentators called it a correction. Dana texted, "They're blinking." Marcus replied, "Good." But the correction had teeth. A community bank froze loans tied to Oakwood. Foreclosure notices went out anyway, faster now, as if the system wanted to finish what it started. Marcus drove to his mother's house. Boxes lined the hall. "I'm sorry," he said again. She touched his cheek. "Don't be," she said. "Just stay." They sat on the steps as dusk settled. A moving truck passed, then another. Across town, Halvorsen watched numbers fall, face pale. "We offered him a way out," he said. His aide said quietly. "He didn't take it." Halvorsen stared at the screen. "Then we endure." Back on the steps, Marcus's phone buzzed with a message from Dana. "Next piece drops tomorrow." Internal emails. Marcus closed his eyes. The market was correcting, they said. Adjusting. But corrections didn't restore what was lost. They just revealed the cost of pretending nothing was wrong. Marcus stood as the streetlights flickered on. He didn't know how far this would go. Only that there was no going back, and no price high enough to buy silence now. 850 words. Exact. The offer came quietly, the way powerful things often do. Marcus was reviewing spreadsheets at his kitchen table when an email slid into his inbox. Subject line neutral to the point of innocence. Discussion. No logos. No signatures beyond a name he recognized from Halvorsen Capital's legal team. "We believe there is room for resolution. Discretion would benefit all parties." Marcus laughed once, short and sharp. "Of course," he said to the empty room. Dana called before he could reply. "They reached out to you." "Yes," Marcus said. "You too." "Not directly," she said. "But investors are asking questions. Big ones." That was new. He felt it like a shift in air pressure. By midday the market reacted. A pension fund announced it was reviewing exposure. Another froze new commitments. Financial News framed it as prudence. "Confidence is sensitive," a host said. "Even allegations can spook capital." Marcus watched from a bench outside the courthouse, sun warming his face. "Funny," he said. Confidence didn't flinch when homes fell. Elaine joined him, files tucked under her arm. "You've got their attention," she said. "I don't want attention," Marcus replied. "I want accountability." She sighed. Those rarely arrive together. His phone buzzed again. "Same counsel. We can discuss restitution." Marcus typed back. "For whom?" The reply came fast. "Your client base. Fees. Damages. Non-admission." "No admission," Marcus said aloud. "No change." He didn't send another message. At Halvorsen Capital, the tone sharpened. Traders spoke in clipped sentences. Risk officers hovered. Richard Halvorsen paced his office, phone pressed to his ear. "This is temporary," he said. "The fundamentals are sound." On the other end, an investor replied, "Fundamentals include trust." Halvorsen's jaw tightened. "We're managing it." "You should have managed it earlier," the investor said, and disconnected. In Oakwood Heights, a town hall filled past capacity. Folding chairs scraped concrete. A woman shouted from the back, "They offered me a modification if I sign away claims." Marcus stepped to the microphone. Don't sign anything without review, he said. They're trying to close doors quietly. A man near the front asked, Will this save our houses? Marcus hesitated. Some, he said honestly. Not all. Murmurs rippled. Truth hurt, but lies cost more. Afterward, Jamal met him in the parking lot, eyes tired but steady. They sent a severance packet, Jamal said. Conditional. On silence, Marcus said. Jamal nodded. I didn't sign. Marcus clapped his shoulder. I'm proud of you. Jamal smiled faintly. Me too. Terrified. But proud. That night the call came again. This time the voice was Richard Halvorson's. Marcus, Halvorson said smoothly. We don't have to do this publicly. Marcus leaned back, staring at the ceiling. You already did. 4 years. You're hurting people, Halvorson said. Your own community. Capital pulls out, projects stall. Capital stalled first, Marcus said. You delayed it. A misunderstanding, Halvorson said. A pattern, Marcus replied. Halvorson exhaled. Name your price. Marcus sat up. This isn't about me. Everything is about incentives, Halvorson said. Marcus's voice hardened. Then here's one. Admit what you did. Release the holds. Fund restitution. Submit to oversight. Silence stretched. That's not realistic, Halvorson said finally. Neither is pretending this ends quietly, Marcus said. He hung up. The next morning, regulators announced a formal inquiry. The wording was careful. The effect was immediate. Halvorson Capital's stock dipped. Commentators called it a correction. Dana texted, They're blinking. Marcus replied, Good. But the correction had teeth. A community bank froze loans tied to Oakwood. Foreclosure notices went out anyway, faster now, as if the system wanted to finish what it started. Marcus drove to his mother's house. Boxes lined the hall. I'm sorry, he said again. She touched his cheek. Don't be, she said. Just stay. They sat on the steps as dusk settled. A moving truck passed, then another. Across town, Halvorson watched numbers fall, face pale. We offered him a way out, he said. His aide said quietly. He didn't take it. Halvorson stared at the screen. Then we endure. Back on the steps, Marcus's phone buzzed with a message from Dana. Next piece drops tomorrow. Internal emails. Marcus closed his eyes. The market was correcting, they said. Adjusting. But corrections didn't restore what was lost. They just revealed the cost of pretending nothing was wrong. Marcus stood as the streetlights flickered on. He didn't know how far this would go. Only that there was no going back, and no price high enough to buy silence now. The house went quiet before it emptied. Marcus noticed it in the way sound traveled. Footsteps echoing longer, the refrigerator hummed suddenly loud. Boxes sat stacked by the door like a small city of cardboard. His mother moved through the room slowly, touching walls as if they might remember her. They gave us 3 days, she said. I'm trying to get a stay, Marcus replied. Phone pressed to his ear, listening to a clerk explain procedures in a voice stripped of sympathy by repetition. We'll be ready, she said. Either way. The clerk finally said, I'm sorry, and Marcus knew it was over. The morning of the foreclosure, a sheriff's deputy arrived with paperwork and a careful distance. He avoided Marcus's eyes. Ma'am, the deputy said gently, I need the keys. Marcus's mother handed them over without a word. The sound they made, metal on metal, stayed with Marcus long after the door closed behind them. Outside, neighbors gathered. Mrs. Alvarez hugged Marcus's mother. They did this to us too, she said. We'll watch your things. Marcus loaded the last box into his car. His hand shook. I should have. You did, his mother said. You stood. They drove away as a tow truck waited at the corner, engine idling like a threat. That afternoon, Marcus sat alone in his apartment, staring at the wall. Dana called. I'm so sorry, she said. Don't be, Marcus replied. This is the point. The emails are bad, Dana said. Worse than we thought. Publish, Marcus said. There was a pause. You don't want to read them first. I know what they'll say, he said. That delay was strategy. That night, Jamal came over with takeout neither of them touched. They think this will break you, Jamal said. It's trying, Marcus replied. Jamal nodded. Me too. They sat in silence, two men carrying different weights from the same machine. The next morning the emails went live. Subject lines. Directives. One line, repeated across threads, froze Marcus's blood. Hold until numbers justify exit. Exit wasn't financial. It was human. Cable news ran the quote. Commentators stammered. That's unfortunate phrasing, one said. Marcus turned the TV off. His phone rang again. Elaine. I pushed for an injunction, she said. It came too late. I know, Marcus said. They'll try to say this proves their point, Elaine continued. That communities like Oakwood are unstable. Marcus's jaw tightened. Instability is imposed. At the courthouse, families packed the hallway. Names were called. Lives condensed to docket numbers. Marcus recognized faces from the vigil. A woman sobbed as a judge read terms without looking up. Marcus stood beside her afterward. We're filing appeals, he said. She shook her head. Appeals don't give my kids a room tonight. Outside, reporters asked Marcus how he felt. How do you quantify loss, he said. In square feet. In nights awake. One reporter pressed. Do you regret pushing so hard? Marcus looked past the camera at a family loading a truck. Regret isn't the word, he said. Across town, Halvorsen sat with counsel, hands clasped. This is manageable, the lawyer said. We concede process failures. No admission of intent. And the houses? Halvorsen asked. Collateral, the lawyer said, then corrected himself. Unfortunate outcomes. Halvorsen nodded. Proceed. That evening, Marcus helped his mother settle into a spare room at his place. She unpacked slowly, folding clothes with care. I don't want you to carry this, she said. I can, Marcus replied. You shouldn't have to, she said. He watched her sleep later, chest rising and falling, and felt anger burn clean and bright. Dana texted. Regulators subpoenaed records. Marcus replied, good. Another text arrived, this one anonymous. You cost people their jobs. Marcus stared at it, then deleted it. Jobs were replaceable. Homes were not. At midnight, he walked the city, past darkened storefronts and glowing towers. He thought about cost, not in dollars but in erosion. Trust. Safety. His phone buzzed. Jamal again. They froze my accounts pending review. Marcus typed back. I'm sorry. Don't be, Jamal replied. Chose this. Marcus stopped at a bridge and looked down at the river, black and patient. He breathed until his hands steadied. The fight had a price. It was being paid in installments, extracted from the least protected first. Marcus turned back toward home, resolve settling heavy but firm. He had lost something that could not be restored. But loss clarified. It stripped the illusion that justice arrived on time or cleanly. What remained was the work, unfinished, costly, necessary. And he would finish it. The first whistleblower came forward at dawn, not to the press, but to the regulator's tip line. By noon 2 more followed. By evening the story had a spine. Dana called Marcus as he stood in line at a copy shop, flyers in his hand. They're corroborating, she said. Independent sources. Same language. Same directives. Names. Marcus asked. Soon, Dana said. They're scared. Me too, Marcus said and meant it. At the federal building, investigators moved with quiet urgency. Boxes rolled in on carts. Laptops opened. A woman with a badge asked for Marcus by name. We need you to walk us through the data, she said. Happy to, Marcus replied. In a windowless room, he explained models and proxies, how neutrality hid intent, how delay created inevitability. The investigator nodded, asked precise questions, took careful notes. "This wasn't sloppy," she said. "It was consistent." "Yes," Marcus said. "Consistency is how systems speak." Outside, the city buzzed with rumors. A senior executive resigned, for personal reasons. Another took medical leave. Halvorsen Capital's stock slid again, the word uncertainty scrolling across tickers. At the firm, Richard Halvorsen convened an emergency meeting. Faces were pale. Coffee went untouched. "We hold," Halvorsen said. "No panic." A junior partner cleared his throat. "The emails were misinterpreted," Halvorsen cut in. "We did nothing illegal." "Legal isn't the question anymore," the partner said quietly. Halvorsen's eyes hardened. "It is to me." Across town, a hearing room filled. Cameras lined the back wall. Marcus sat behind Dana, hands folded. Elaine took the stand. "The city relied on representations," she said. "Those representations were incomplete." A council member asked, "Did anyone raise concerns earlier?" Elaine paused. "Yes." "Names?" The council member pressed. Elaine glanced toward Marcus. "Mr. Reed." A murmur rippled through the room. When Marcus testified, his voice was steady. "I was told to wait," he said. "Waiting cost people their homes." A lawyer asked, "Are you alleging racism?" "I'm describing outcomes," Marcus replied, "and the choices that produced them." Outside, a crowd gathered. Signs rose. Chants echoed. A woman shouted, "Say it." Marcus stepped to the microphone. "Say what?" he asked. "That they did this on purpose," she said. Marcus nodded. "I'm saying the system did what it was designed to do," he said. "And people made it that way." Jamal watched from home, laptop balanced on his knees. He messaged Marcus. "They emailed me, asked if I'd testify." "Do it," Marcus replied. "If you're ready." Jamal wrote. "I lost enough already." By nightfall the dam cracked. An internal memo leaked, this one signed. The language was plain. "Delay Oakwood exposure until exit is defensible." Dana published it without embellishment. Cable news ran the signature in close-up. Commentators stopped smiling. "That's not ambiguity," one said. "That's instruction." Sponsors pulled ads. Analysts revised forecasts. The market moved faster now, unforgiving. Halvorsen's counsel called Marcus again. "We're prepared to discuss comprehensive settlement." Marcus looked at his mother's folded clothes on the chair. "Include restitution funds, independent oversight, and public acknowledgement," he said. The lawyer hesitated. "Acknowledgement of error," he offered. "Of harm," Marcus corrected. Silence. At midnight, a press release dropped. Halvorsen Capital announced leadership changes. Richard Halvorsen would step aside pending investigation. The city exhaled. Marcus stood on his balcony, phone buzzing non-stop. Dana texted, "It's happening." Elaine texted, "They're voting on emergency relief." Jamal texted a photo of his badge on a table. "Tomorrow," he wrote. Across town, Halvorsen packed his office, movements precise, face unreadable. An aide lingered. "Do you want me to call anyone?" she asked. "No," Halvorsen said. He paused, then added, "This isn't over." Back on the balcony, Marcus watched lights flicker off in towers that once felt untouchable. Exposure had a smell, ozone and ink, fear and relief. He knew consequences wouldn't rewind time. Houses wouldn't reassemble. Trust wouldn't snap back into place. But the story was no longer his alone. It belonged to the record now, and records had weight. They changed what came next. Marcus went inside, closed the door, and prepared for the final accounting, knowing justice would arrive incomplete, delayed, and still worth pursuing. The verdict didn't come with a gavel. It arrived in increments. Headlines, filings, votes taken after midnight when cameras were gone. Marcus followed it all from the same kitchen table where the map of damage had first taken shape. Halvorsen Capital agreed to a settlement without admitting intent. Restitution funds were established. Oversight installed. The language was careful, bloodless. Dana called. They're calling it accountability. It's consequence, Marcus said. Not repair. That's still something, she replied. It is, Marcus agreed. He meant it. The city council passed emergency relief. Some families returned. Others never would. Mrs. Alvarez texted a photo of keys in her hand, smiling through tears. Marcus stared at it for a long time. His mother moved into a small apartment across town. On moving day, Marcus carried boxes up narrow stairs. I'll get used to this, she said, setting a lamp by the window. You shouldn't have to, Marcus replied. She touched his arm. You didn't lose, she said. We were taken. He nodded. Words felt insufficient. At the courthouse steps, cameras gathered for the announcement. Regulators outlined violations, fines, future constraints. A reporter asked Marcus if justice had been served. Justice arrived late, he said. And it left gaps. Do you feel vindicated? Another asked. Marcus looked past the microphones. I feel changed. Inside a conference room, Richard Halvorsen signed his resignation agreement. No handcuffs, no spectacle. He closed his pen carefully. A lawyer said, You'll be fine. Halvorsen smiled thinly. The market already decided. Outside, his name trended for an hour, then slid down the page. Jamal testified the next week. He spoke clearly without drama. I ran the models, he said. They weren't neutral. When it was over, he sat beside Marcus on the courthouse steps, both of them quiet. What now? Jamal asked. Marcus thought. Rest, he said. Then work. Dana's final piece ran Sunday morning. It listed outcomes. Quoted families. Named the cost. Marcus read it slowly, then closed the laptop. That afternoon he walked Oakwood Heights. New paint covered old boards. Some houses stayed empty, windows dark. A teenager kicked a soccer ball in the street. Hey, the kid called. You're the guy. Marcus smiled faintly. I'm a guy. My mom says you helped, the kid said. I tried, Marcus replied. Good, the kid said and ran off. Dusk, Marcus returned home. He cooked dinner. He ate standing up. He washed dishes and watched the city lights come on one by one. His phone buzzed. An unknown number. Mr. Reed, a voice said. This is a recruiter. Marcus listened. We have an opening, the voice continued. Your experience would be valuable. Where? Marcus asked. A firm rebuilding trust, the recruiter said. Marcus smiled without humor. Trust isn't rebuilt by hires, he said. It's rebuilt by change. The recruiter paused. Understood. Marcus hung up. Later Dana texted. You okay? Marcus typed back. I will be. He stepped onto the balcony and breathed the cool air. The city felt different now. Not healed but altered, like a scar that reminded you where not to cut again. The market had moved. Too late for some. Not fast enough for others. But it had moved. Marcus leaned on the railing, feeling the weight of what remained. He would carry it. He would also carry proof that systems could be challenged, even if the cost was uneven and the timing cruel. Below, traffic flowed. Above, windows went dark. Tomorrow would not be clean. It would be work. Marcus went inside, turned off the lights, and let the day end, knowing that justice was never a moment. It was a practice, learned late, paid for early, and never finished on time. The city did not pause to mark the end. Marcus realized that on a Monday morning when traffic moved the same as always and the news cycle had already shifted, a celebrity scandal replaced the settlement. Markets opened, dipped, recovered. The bell rang. Life continued. He sat in a community center conference room with a dozen residents from Oakwood Heights, folding chairs arranged in a loose circle. No cameras. No microphones. So what happens now? a man asked. Marcus didn't answer right away. He looked at the scuffed floor, the coffee cooling in paper cups. Now we build something that doesn't depend on them, he said. Or at least doesn't trust them blindly. A woman crossed her arms. You mean another promise? I mean control, Marcus replied. Community land trusts. Cooperative financing. Slow money. Someone laughed bitterly. Slow is what killed us. Marcus nodded. Slow without power does, he said. Slow with ownership doesn't. The meeting ended without applause, just quiet agreement and lingering doubt. That felt honest. Outside, Jamal waited by Marcus's car. He wore a button-down now, new job badge clipped to his belt. They hired me, Jamal said. Who? Marcus asked. State regulator, Jamal replied. Model review unit. Marcus smiled. Good. Break something gently. Jamal laughed. I plan to. They leaned against the car for a moment, watching clouds gather. You ever think about leaving? Jamal asked. All the time, Marcus said. And then I think about who benefits, Marcus replied. That afternoon Marcus met Dana for coffee. She looked tired but lighter. I'm moving beats, she said. Health. Housing. Still power, Marcus said. Different language, she replied. Same fight. A man at the next table leaned over. Excuse me, he said. You're Marcus Reed, right? Marcus nodded cautiously. My sister kept her house, the man said. Barely. I just wanted to say, thanks. Marcus swallowed. I'm glad, he said. The man hesitated. It shouldn't take this. No, Marcus agreed. It shouldn't. That night, Marcus visited his mother. She had framed a photo of Oakwood Heights from years ago. Kids on bikes, doors open. I remember this, she said. Before they noticed us. They always noticed, Marcus said. They just didn't invest. She smiled sadly. You still fighting? Yes, Marcus said. Good, she replied. Rest too. He promised he would, knowing rest would come in pieces. Across town, Richard Halvorson read the paper alone. His name appeared once, folded into a paragraph about legacy leadership. He closed it and stared out the window of a smaller office than before. The market had said too late. It always did. He felt the truth of it now, sharp and personal, and wondered when he'd first learned to confuse timing with innocence. Back in Oakwood Heights, Marcus joined a block cleanup. He painted over old foreclosure numbers, one wall at a time. A teenager asked, You gonna run for something? Marcus shook his head. No. Why not? The kid pressed. Because power doesn't only sit in offices, Marcus said. It hides in rules. The kid nodded as if that made sense. As dusk fell, Marcus stood at the corner where protest chants had once echoed. It was quiet now. Normal. His phone buzzed with a final message from an unknown number. You made it harder. Marcus stared at the words, then typed back one line. But he slipped the phone into his pocket and walked home, step steady. The damage remained. The cost lingered. Some wounds would never close. But the silence was gone. And in its place was something less comfortable, less profitable, and far more dangerous to those who depended on delay. Attention. Marcus learned the sound of mornings again. Not the alarms of urgency or the vibration of breaking news, but the ordinary things. Traffic easing, a neighbor's radio, the slow boil of coffee. The crisis had passed. What stayed behind was weight. He stood in a small rented office above a non-profit legal clinic. Whiteboard half filled with plans that weren't slogans. Budgets, timelines, ownership structures. This isn't heroic, Jamal said, leaning in the doorway. It's paperwork. Marcus smiled. Paperwork is where power hides. Jamal nodded. Regulators approved the pilot. That fast? Marcus asked. Fast for once, Jamal said. Public pressure works. Marcus capped his marker. So does memory. Later that day, Marcus testified again, this time not about harm but about prevention. The room was smaller, the audience thinner. A council member asked, "How do we avoid this happening again?" Marcus replied, "You don't avoid it. You design against it." "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means sunlight in models," Marcus said. "Community vetoes. Time limits on delay. Accountability with teeth." Another council member frowned. "That will slow deals." "Good," Marcus said. "Speed favors those already ahead." No applause followed, but notes were taken. Outside, Dana waited with her recorder off. "You sound different," she said. "I am," Marcus replied. "Angrier?" she asked. "Clearer," Marcus said. "Anger burns. Clarity builds." They walked a block in silence. "You done being the story?" Dana asked. "Yes," Marcus said. "I'd rather be the footnote that changes the page." At his mother's apartment that evening, Marcus fixed a loose cabinet hinge. "You don't have to do everything," she said. "I know," he replied. She watched him work. "You look tired." "I am," Marcus said. "But it's a useful tired." She nodded. "That's the kind that lasts." Across town, the city announced a permanent oversight board. The press release avoided names. The structure mattered more. Marcus read it on his phone and exhaled. That night, he dreamed of Oakwood Heights before the boards, before the numbers. He woke with the echo of kids laughing, unsure if it was memory or hope. Weeks passed. The headlines moved on. But in a quiet office, residents signed cooperative agreements. In courtrooms, language changed. Slowly, incompletely. At a community celebration, a woman handed Marcus a plate of food. "You staying?" she asked. "Yes," Marcus said. "Good," she replied. "We need witnesses." As the sun set, Marcus stepped aside and watched people gather. Neighbors, not symbols. He felt the cost again, sharp and real. The houses lost. The nights awake. The years shaved off trust. He also felt something steadier. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You didn't win." Marcus stared at it, then typed back carefully. Winning wasn't the goal. He put the phone away. Across the street, a bell rang. Closing time at a nearby exchange. The sound floated up, familiar and hollow. The market had spoken once, loudly. Had said too late. Marcus listened, then turned back to the crowd, to the work. Justice would not announce itself with bells or verdicts. It would arrive in increments, contested and fragile. It would arrive because people stayed. Marcus picked up a stack of forms and walked back inside, shoulders squared, knowing the story did not end where attention faded. It continued wherever delay was challenged, wherever silence was refused, wherever someone chose not now, and meant never again.